Factoring by grouping. Check if you can factor out a common factor first, and then you factor two terms at a time twice. So here we have 4 terms. There is no one number that will go into all of them at the same time or a variable. So let's factor by grouping. By grouping means 2 terms at a time twice. So out of first 2 terms, we can take out x, and the first parenthesis will simplify into 2x minus 1. Now we have the other 2 terms to factor, and we can take out 3 out of both of them, and we are taking out positive 3, and that's the number that will go on the outside. So we have plus 3. 3 goes into 6 2 times, 2x minus 1. Now we have 2 terms. This is multiplication, and they have this parenthesis in common, so we can factor out the parenthesis. 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1, whatever goes into the denominator goes on the outside. This cancels into 1, so we have 1x plus, this cancels into 1, 3 times 1, 3, times this parenthesis, 2x minus 1. And this is our solution. Let's factor this. There is no one number or a variable that will go into all 4 terms at the same time, so we will factor 2 at a time. So 6 and 15 can both be divided by 3. Whatever goes in denominator goes on the outside. They can be both divided by x. So first set becomes 3x times 3 goes into 6 2 times x plus, this is 1, 3 goes into 15 5 times. These two can be divided by 2. It's positive 2. 2 goes into 4 2 times. X plus 2 goes into 10 5 times. Now we have 2 terms. We can divide both of these by 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5. Whatever goes in denominators has to go on the outside. So we have 3x, this is 1, plus 2, this cancels into 1, times 2x plus 5. And this is our solution. In this problem, first 2 terms can be divided by a. So the first parenthesis simplifies into x plus 2. So from the second parenthesis, we can divide both of them by 2. That's a positive 2b. So we get plus 2b times, this cancels, x plus, this cancels, 2 goes into 4, 2 times. Once parentheses are matching, we can factor them out. So both of these can be divided by x plus 2, x plus 2. Whatever goes in denominator goes on the outside. So this cancels. We have a plus 2b, this cancels into 1, times x plus 2. And this is our solution. If you take a look at this problem, and we have first 2 terms, if you notice they are relatively prime, meaning I cannot divide them by the same number, or a variable that is not 1. So the first thing I want to do is to regroup these so that I can factor something out. But I know 6 and 3 can be factored by the same number, so I'm going to switch these two around. just like 3 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 3. I'm just going to rewrite this expression so it is easier to factor. So now we have 6x to the second plus 3xz plus 10xy plus 5yz. Now I'm going to factor by grouping. So first two terms can be divided by 3. We can also take out x from both of them. So this will simplify into 3x. 3 goes into 6 2 times. X plus this cancels, z. So the second set of terms, both can be divided by 5. It's a positive 5. We can also divide both of them by y. So we get plus 5y times 5 goes into 10 2 times. This cancels. We have x plus this cancels, z, which is a good sign. We need parentheses to match to be able to factor them out. We divide both of them by 2x plus z. 2x plus z. Whatever goes in denominator goes on the outside, 2x plus z. So we have 3x, this cancels, plus this cancels, 5y times 2x plus z. And this is our solution. Okay, let's factor this one. 6 and 14 can both be divided by 2. We can take out a also. So the first parenthesis is 2a. 2 goes into 6 3 times. This cancels. B plus 2 goes into 14 7 times. This cancels. We are still factoring by grouping, but in order to be able to take out parentheses on the next step, everything inside of those parentheses must be the same. You can only factor out the same kind of factor. So we can still divide these two by 5. If we take out positive 5, we would have two negatives inside of this parentheses. But in order to have a match with these signs, we need to divide both of these terms by negative 5. What this will do, we would have negative divided by a negative. We would get a positive 3b. Negative divided by a negative, we would get a positive 7. Now that we have same signs, because this is a positive 3b also, we can factor out this parenthesis. For the factoring to work, whatever goes into denominators must match. This is why we needed to change the sign in the second set of terms. So we have 3b plus 7 in denominators. Whatever goes in denominators must go on the outside. So now we get 2a, this cancels, minus this cancels, 5 times 3b plus 7. And this is our solution. So we can take out y out of first two terms here. We have y, this cancels, 2x minus something divided by itself is 1. So over here, we can divide both of these terms by z, and it will go on the outside. However, if we only take out positive z, first term would be negative and the second term will be positive. We need to change the signs to match the other parentheses, because this 2 is positive and the second term is negative. So we're going to divide both of these terms by negative z, and we will be left with, this will cancel, negative 2 divided by negative z, positive 2x, positive z divided by negative z, we will get negative, something divided by itself, 1. Now that we have matching parentheses, we can take out this factor of 2x minus 1. So this cancels, and we have y minus z left over times 2x minus 1. And this is our solution. If you notice, there is no common factor of 8xw and 21yz. I'm just gonna switch these two around. So we have 8xw plus 6yw plus 21yz plus 28xz. And now we can factor. 6 and 8 can both be divided by 2. We can also take out w. So we get 2w times 2 goes into 8 4 times. This cancels, x, plus 2 goes into 6 3 times. This cancels, y. 21 and 28 can both be divided by 7. We can take out z also, plus 7z times 7 goes into 21 3 times. This cancels, y, plus 7 goes into 28 4 times. This cancels, x. Now we need to factor out the parentheses, but we can only factor out same looking parentheses. But this is positive 3y. This parenthesis is exactly the same as this one, just like 5 plus 3 is exactly the same as 3 plus 5. So I'm just going to rewrite the second parenthesis to make it look like the first one. We have 2w times 4x plus 3y plus 7z times 4x plus 3y. And now we can factor out the parentheses. So we can divide by 4x plus 3y, 4x plus 3y. Whatever goes in denominators goes on the outside, 4x plus 3y. So now we have 2w plus 7z times 4x plus 3y. And this is our solution. That's all.